What's going on? In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Prospio's new updated platform to build a high quality B2B lead list. That's going to solve a lot of your data problems. A lot of people that I talk to have big data constraints nowadays. So they're either just not able to find high quality, relevant leads at all, or they've ran through all the ones that they could find and they've run through them multiple times and they need fresh leads that haven't been really contacted and are still at the same quality as the ones that worked for them in the past. So I'm going to walk you through exactly that. I'm going to walk you through the platform, different features that I personally use for my clients. To be honest, we started using Prospio a few months ago, and the data is really, really high quality. We use it for ourselves, for client campaigns, so it's pretty high quality data, good features, easy to use. So I'll walk you through all of that in this video. All right, so this is where you land, where you first sign up to Prospio. They have a few really good plans to start out, and then they also have a really good enterprise like business option that allows you to pull a lot of leads. So yeah, I highly recommend this option for here. And they have the two filters here, one for people, one only for companies. So usually what I like to do is I like to find the companies first. So all the filters for the companies, check the companies first, and then go ahead and find the right decision makers at those companies, which is like another level deeper after that, right? So usually I start off here, do all the filters here, which I'll go through as well, the ones that I really like using, and then some of the newer ones, and then I go to the people and find all the job titles and all the other things here. Right. Another thing here is if you have like a CSV file that you want to enrich with all of the company decision makers, with their email addresses, with their LinkedIn profile, stuff like that, this is a good way to do a bulk thing. We don't necessarily use this one, but it is something that is available, and you can also plug it into your workflows. Like if you want to enrich leads to automatically add to your CRM, you can do that through API. And do it that way, right? They also have other integrations, but for this purpose of the video, I'm going to focus on these two tabs here, right? And one thing that I really like doing here is being able to go to the company tab and, for example, going to infinite bookings. Let's see if it comes up, and being able to build lookalike lists of companies, right? So if you have a company or if you have a client that's working extremely well, right, and you want more of them, then you can type in their website here and you can go ahead and find how they're categorized. So all the keywords, all the industry filters, right? And use that in your new list. And that's one way to build a lookalike list without having to pay pretty extreme prices for stuff like Ocean and stuff like that, which are really good, but you're getting, I would say, 90, maybe 80% of the quality as a lookalike list from Ocean, which is only doing lookalike lists. But here you're doing it for a fraction of the price. Right. So here you can go do companies. And one of the main things that I like about this new edition is the intent topics, right? So for example, if you're looking for companies looking for B2B sales acceleration, you have 6,500 companies here who have buying intent of B2B sales acceleration, right? And there's a lot more as well. There's all these other ones, right, with a little more niche topics. But for example, for sales, sales, there's all these other ones. So operations planning, inbound sales cycle. So if you're selling like, automations or anything like that to help with sales cycles, all these different things, outbound sales, right? You could do that one, remote sales, like all these different ones. There's so many niche topics of interest. That's what they're called, that you can save. And it's by a really good provider called Bombara. So if you pay for that access, you have really high intent leads. And these leads, it's a whole different campaign that you can make compared to just like people who you don't really know are interested in what you're selling. These people are much more prone to actually respond to your emails because they're actively searching for it, right? So LinkedIn Sales Nav, there's all these different options here they can do, which are going to give you a really niche like topic that you can reach out to on behalf of, right? And then they have all the typical like technologies, like if they're using a Salesforce, you can target that, Sales Loft, all of these different things, which is really neat and really effective when you're doing outreach. So instead of just spraying and praying, which nobody really likes to do, you're able to actually target people who are in the market for what you need, right? Or for what you're selling, sorry. So here you could do that. And also, as you can see, like Kroger is a huge company. Obviously, you're most likely not reaching out to those companies unless you are, but you can also filter by employee count, which is pretty standard. So let's say you did 11 to 200, right? You're going to narrow that down quite a bit, and we can throw this in as well. And you could take a look at these companies, right? You could take a look. If you see that some of these companies are not really in the industries that you want to be in, you can filter out by that, right? So that's really the main thing here. You can do all these different filters, right? Company email provider, headcount by department, job posting, right? This is great if you run a staffing company, which we've run for before. Company attributions. So if your specific your offers is like for free trials or anything related to that you can tie back to your offer, you can really do personalization at scale here, which is great. Headcount growth, so how quickly a company is growing, which is a great indicator that they're looking to invest maybe. Founded, so how long they've been around. Technologies, right? You could do, for example, Shopify, all the main ones. This is all great, and it's from Wappalizer, so you can check which technologies Wappalizer supports, and then you can go from there. Funding, we don't do funding in terms of filtering, but you can pay extra and get that, or you can also go from Crunchbase and import the list as well. Depends how you want to go. And then revenue. Revenue, honestly, this one's pretty accurate. Other than like Apollo, I've noticed not to be extremely accurate. That's why I prefer to use headcount. But this one's actually a little bit more on target. I've seen in the past few months that we've been running with Prospero. And then here you could do all this. The one thing that I really like, which Apollo had a beta version of, and it was honestly pretty terrible. It just wasn't working at all, is the NAICS and SIC codes. So if you're targeting a very niche industry, like for example, if you're targeting landscaping companies, right, you can find the code for it for landscaping companies and put that into there, right? So for example, you would type this in here, and then you can see that, right? So obviously this is like a niche, like B2B sales acceleration buying topic thing, but you can put any NAICS code in there, and it actually is pretty cool, right? So that's if you're targeting like niche, more local, possibly companies. So that's that. Now, what I would do after that is I would go to the companies column, or from the companies column to the people column, and filter out for the job title. Right. Now, this is pretty similar to the other platforms, but it is pretty accurate. It's really just a filtering mechanism. So as you can see here, I put in a lot of different filters here, especially for the exclude filters. So what the strategy I've seen work best with Prospero is you cast a wide net with the department, seniority, and then with the job titles, your main goal is to exclude as many people. Right. So that's what I see, like, for example, with this type of thing, where I'll include the person's seniority, include their all these filters, but a majority of the job title is exclusion, right? Which is great. It's super easy to exclude. You just type in, like, for example, founder, and then you can either, or this one you can only include, but you can exclude. It's basically you just click the minus sign and that's it. So it's super easy to use, super like nice platform, and like I said, the data is really good as well. So you just, let's say you wanted to pull a list of buying intent B2B sales acceleration, and you wanted to do keywords of, let's just say agencies, or let's do a keyword of agency. This is just like a very simple list. Agency, right? Half of them around are agencies, and then let's just do founders, or let's do sales. Sales directors, right? Let's just say. Okay, no results for that. We could just do founders. It's fine. I just want to show you guys how you would export this. Interesting. Okay, we could do C-suite. Yeah, so that's why I was saying, like, usually I like to cast a bigger net with the departments, with the seniority levels. So here you could do something like this, right? Partner, a majority of these are entry level. So you just want to make sure that you exclude any like assistants, executives, anything like that you don't want to be targeting. And then here, if you just want to export this, you would just select all people, apply. Obviously, you'd want this to be in the thousands, but this is a pretty niche buying intent list, right? And then you would just go ahead and either add to a list, push to, if you have like some sort of cold outreach software connected, right? They have instantly smart lead integrations. and even coming soon Clay, which is going to be really interesting. And then you just export it, right? You can see, okay, so this is actually pretty interesting. None of these have verified emails, but they do have mobiles, right? So what you're going to want to do here is include more of the actual decision makers that you want to get in touch with. And a lot of these are from this. So what I would do in this case is just exclude this company, because a lot of them are coming from, like, literally almost 100% of them are coming from here. Or it might only be that company, right? So you kind of have to like finagle with it. It's not always going to be 100% perfect, but with time, you get pretty, I guess, accompanied by the platform. Right? Interesting. Exclude, right? So you can also just exclude a list and exclude company, which is great. And yeah, so 100% of those were from that agency. So you're just gonna, like I said, the main goal of this is just to show you how you can export the list, but you can build a pretty good lead list in here, and then you could just select however much you want, export 25 of 25, so 100% of the emails were found, or yeah, and that's gonna cost you 23 credits, and then you just export it, right? So that's how you go ahead and do that. There's duplicate control, which you can also do. And then what you want to do also is verify the emails. So it's all pretty simple to do. Another big thing that Prospio is really good at, and this is also a very niche use case of Prospio, is their mobile contact data is really good. So if you want to call a lead or enrich a lead, it's very good for that. So let's just see if my name comes up. Alex Mikowski, Infinite Bookings. So let's reveal the phone number. And yeah, that's my phone number. That's my mobile like phone number. So I guess don't call that, but like that's like how easy it is to find. So really good use case there. No mobile phone number, reveal, right? So obviously you can kind of do with that as you wish, but the mobile phone numbers are really, really useful. And that you can also do as CSV enrichment, which is great. So if you want to do warm calling, cold calling, it's great data. Really high quality data, actually. So that's the walkthrough of the video. Yeah, and this is how the actual sheet export looks like. So it's pretty simple. Obviously, this is just for a few leads here, but you get their first name, last name, LinkedIn, email. You can get their mobile phone numbers if you want, and you just pay extra and it exports. Company name, all ready for cold outreach. Industry, all this information here that's very nice to have. States, headline from their LinkedIn profile that you can use as well, company range, domains, everything like that. So pretty much all the data that you really need. And then you also have their codes as well if you want. So yeah, that's that. Pretty good data here. As you can see, you can kind of check these people. I'm not sure if you can see, I just clicked on his LinkedIn profile, but you can see all this info. So yeah. All right, so hopefully you found that valuable. And if you want to give Prospio a try for yourself, building a list for your own company, for your own target market with your own data that you know has worked in the past, there's going to be a link in the description. You're going to be able to get 100 free credits a month for lifetime from Prospio. So just use that link, sign up, and give it a try. See if it works for you. And yeah, hopefully this video is valuable. Hopefully you learned some sort of insights, some sort of strategies. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.